Hello, my name is Bill Snyder. I'm going to talk to you today about Mitsubishi parts and how to look them up uh, using MyLink Drive and through the system available that Mitsubishi has for looking up parts, looking up the parts bulletins and model numbers and so forth. So we're going to share a screen here. Hopefully this will work. Hit share. And I'm going to see if you can see you can kind of see my mouse. Okay, that's what I wanted to do. Okay, and hopefully you can see me as well. I'm Bill Snyder. I'm the Service Advisor Team Leader, and I am a trainer for Mitsubishi. So we're going to talk, normally I train on M&P product and how to service them, install them, that sort of thing. But today we're going to talk about specifically, we'll talk about how to look up parts on MyLink Drive. So if this works, let's try this again. I should be zipping along here. Can you see that? You shouldn't see that. That is not supposed to be on the screen. And it's not. Okay. Yeah, you're fine, no? Okay. Mitsubishi came to the United States back in 1983, and that's when the Gustave Larson company joined up with Mitsubishi. So we're the oldest Mitsubishi distributor in the United States, and we've been a distributor for over 37 years. Okay, the company was founded, Mitsubishi was founded back in 1870, and in 1921 they formed a division called Mitsubishi Electric, and that's the part that we're associated with when we talk about Mitsubishi air conditioning, HVAC, mini-splits, that sort of thing. We're associated with Mitsubishi Electric. Mitsubishi's got more Energy Star items in the industry, and they've been leading in SEER in the industry. We got 33.1. Mitsubishi developed Hyperheat, and Hyperheat will allow you to heat to be 100% of the system's heating capacity down to 5 degrees, and at minus 13, giving you about 70 to 80% of the 85% of the system design capacity of the equipment itself. Your design for your home may be different, but if it's a 24,000 BTU unit, it's going to give you 24,000 BTUs at 5 degrees, and it will give you about 75–80% of that at minus 13. So that's kind of the way the system works. Mitsubishi also has anywhere from about 6,000 BTUs or half a ton all the way up to 30-ton equipment, which is the big city multi-type equipment. We're not going to talk about that today, but actually the parts lookup is very, very similar on all of the products. The 30 tons is the largest piece of equipment that we have that we can sell. We can put multiple pieces of equipment together to come up with hundreds of tons of cooling and get you, like I say, hundreds of tons of cooling in large commercial buildings. So kind of neat the way that works. And Mitsubishi has inventory levels in 20 states at 53 locations. So we can hopefully handle most of your needs, even during this time where we're experiencing COVID, coronavirus, that sort of thing, where factories have to shut down for a couple weeks at a time to clean and so forth. Mitsubishi plant in Baja California has had to close down for a couple weeks, but we've been able to pretty much keep ahead of everything because we have a very large inventory on hand, including parts. And Mitsubishi has 2 large facilities in the United States, one in California, one down by Atlanta, Georgia, which we also can draw equipment and parts from. So one of the things I wanted to mention to you is on this screen, you'll notice there's a Mitsubishi service information available on MyLink Drive. And that's what we're going to talk about today, is how to look this stuff up on MyLink Drive. Also, there's a customer care number that you can email and a customer care number that you can call for technical assistance, or you can call any of us. We're available to you during normal working hours. We also have a service advisor hotline number, which is 800-827-9508. And then just hit option 2, and you will go into our service advisor location, or you should be able to call any one of the branches and they can transfer you to the extension 17045, and that will get us. All of these people are on a queue. You'll leave a message there, and then one of us will call you back. Usually it's 10 to 15 minutes at the most, because it's monitored by all of us. Now, we are primarily monitoring that call from about 7:30 a.m. till about 4:30 p.m. Central Time. We do have some of these guys out in Salt Lake City, Denver, that may answer it a little later on, and Chris Elam here is in Indianapolis, so he's in the Eastern time zone. So we kind of span over this, but we primarily monitor this phone between say 8 and 4:30 is the best time to catch one of us. Okay, so today we're primarily talking about this M series and P series catalog. This is the new catalog that came out spring of 2020, and it is got both the M and P product line in it. The old catalogs were separate for M and P. We'll talk a little bit about the M and P product as we go forward. But first, I want to talk about nomenclature. This is the M series unit. As you see, it starts with an M. It may start with an S. S meaning mini or small. M meaning mini, S meaning small, if it helps you to remember this. And so if it starts with an M, it's an M series, or S, it's an M series. The next digit here, X, would indicate that it is a multi-zone outdoor unit. Multi-zone outdoor unit would mean that it is, let me just put this here, there we go. And I don't have to hold it. Sorry about that. M series, we're talking the M series unit here, MXZ, and X, meaning it's a multi-zone unit. Multi-zone means that there's one outdoor unit and multiple indoor units. If it was an MS, it would be an indoor unit, wall unit. If it was an MU, it would be a single zone outdoor unit. In other words, one indoor unit, one outdoor unit, one single zone. Again, the X would be multiple zones. And so that this nomenclature is used for both indoor and outdoor products. As you can see, the S would indicate a wall unit, or the E would be a horizontal, F would be the floor mounted or low wall, what actually mounts on the wall close to the floor unit, or L meaning ceiling cassette, and so forth. The next digit, Z, the Z would indicate that it was a heat pump. If it was a Y, it would be a cooling unit. I like to think of Y like the yellow wire for cooling. So Y would indicate cooling, Z would be heat pump. The next digit is, in regards to this X, which is a multi-zone unit, this is telling you that you have 2 zones on that multi-zone unit. So you can put 2 indoor heads and 1 outdoor unit. This could be up to 8 indoor units with 1 outdoor unit, depending upon the configuration of the system. C is a generation of products. We went from an MXZ A to a B to a C. We're on the C generation now. The 20 indicates 20K, or 20,000 BTUs. So this would be a 20,000 BTU unit, a little less than 2 tons. The N indicates system voltage. N would indicate 208, 230 volts. W would indicate 115 volts. There's only two models that we have that are 115 volt models. And that's a 9,000 and a 12,000 heat pump. And those are one-to-one single zone units. And that's it in the entire line. When you get to P, you're going to find the same thing. There's only a 208, 230 volt system. Then we get to A, which is a control system designation, if they change the internal controls. HZ, the H indicates that there's an internal baseband heater built in. And the Z would indicate hyperheat. All of our hyperheat models have basepans in them. They're basically built for our part of the country. You really don't need a baseband heater if you're installing this heat pump in Arizona, for instance. But if you're installing it in any of the normal climate, the northern climates, you will need to include a baseband heater. So if you sell a standard heat pump, a non-hyperheat heat pump, you have to add the baseband in, the baseband heater in, which is so I think somewhat expensive. It probably is a couple $100 somewhere around in there. Plus you have to add the labor to install it. So really makes sense to be installing the hyperheat models in the northern climates. The next two is a model version, and the -U is a service reference number. We're going to talk quite a bit about service reference number today because it's highly important when looking at parts. And model version, you'll see that this, not only the C changes is the generation, but the version may change. And this is true in both M and P series. Okay, kind of the lineup here. These are what some of the indoor heads look like. And you can see here that these first top three models are all MXZ or multi-zone units. This one is available for hyperheat. These all model, actually this model here will work with hyperheat too. You can look that up in the catalog. And these models on the bottom are your standard units that will not work with the MXZ multi-zone units. But you'll notice they all start with the letter M. And that's going to be significant because on these models, you'll see there's a couple models here that start with an M. This floor mounted or low wall mounted unit and the single cassette. By the way, this cassette will mount between 14-inch or 16-inch on center floor joists or ceiling rafters, so that this thing can mount in as little as 2x8s. It definitely will mount in 2x10s. These again are all used in the hyperheat configuration, or can be used in hyperheat configuration, and they're all used on the multi-zone, and many of these can also be hooked up on a single one-to-one zone. I said the M was significant because the indoor unit, if it starts with an M, it comes with a remote control. These two units down here start with an M, but these are cooling only units. So please be aware that some of these are cooling only units. These cannot be used on the MXZ hyperheat or standard heat pump models. These are cooling only models. So there's a designation in the M series that indicates cooling only. But again, if they start with the letter M, it comes with some kind of remote control. One will either look something like this, the other will look something like this, depending upon which model it is. The latest generation of changes has this style in it. This, I assume, will be eventually being phased out. I'm making some assumptions there, but there is a value line that will probably continue to use this type of remote control. And again, it comes only with the units that start with the letter M. These are the outdoor units. Now we're talking about parts, and you can see here that, like for the instance, this is a 4-port. This is an MXZ 4C36 NA2. This is an MXZ 4C36 NaHZ2. This is a hyperheat unit. This is the standard unit. So if you call in for a part, or you're looking up a part online, just be very, very careful that you don't just abbreviate the number. We need the complete model number or service reference number. And service reference number, and we like to have serial number too, because then we can verify the model number against the serial number and make sure we're sending you the proper parts. But these are kind of the configurations with some of the indoor units, or I'm sorry, the outdoor units look like. And now we're going to go to the P series. Very, very similar system of numbers that give you the same sort of description. So if we look at it, it's the P series. P, we think of that as a professional series. So the unit starts with P. Professional means usually these go in a commercial site. Don't have to. These can go in a residential site as well. The U would indicate that it is a single zone outdoor unit. And a single zone outdoor unit is a 1-to-1, single zone, single indoor unit with a 1 outdoor unit. If it was a PC, it would be a ceiling cassette. So, or I'm sorry, C would be a wall-mounted unit, and L would be ceiling cassette, E would be a horizontal ducted unit. B is a vertical air handler, which is it's not just vertical, it's multi-position. It's upflow, downflow, horizontal left, horizontal right. And then the Z, just like in the M series, Z would indicate it's a heat pump. If it was a Y, it would be cooling only, and the A says both heating and cooling. Now, you'd think a heat pump is both heating and cooling, but what they're referring to there is if it is a PU, it's an outdoor unit. So it's going to be a PUY or PUZ. But if it's an indoor wall head, like a PK, it's probably going to be a PKA, which would mean that the indoor wall head would work on both heating and cooling. Unlike the M series, where you had a separate wall cassette for heating, cooling, and a separate wall cassette for cooling only. The A would just indicate a generation change, just like in the M series. 24 would be 24K or 24,000 BTU, a 2-ton unit. That N would just indicate the compressor voltage is 208, 230 single phase, which is all that's available in the P series. H is a model generation. A, again, is the control method. 7 is a model version. Very, very important. So again, when you're calling in for parts or looking up parts, you need to know the last few digits. For instance, PUY A24NA 45 was good down to 0 degrees temperature. The 6 with the wind baffles would take you down to 24 below 0, 20 below 0. And the 7 with the appropriate wind baffles will allow you to get 100% of the cooling capacity at minus 40 degrees. So that would be a unit that you would use in, say, a elevator equipment room or an IT type room where you need cooling. No matter what the outdoor temperature is, you always need cooling because the room is generating, or the equipment in the room is generating enough heat. And then that last BS on here would indicate coastal protection. I think of it as a blue spray. The coils come out kind of a bluish color. And if we were installing this along the East Coast where there's a salt spray in the air, salt spray typically eats up aluminum fins. So they put the blue spray on it to give you a seacoast protection. Okay, moving along. This, unlike the M series, these are all of the indoor type heads. Some of these, like this PEAD and this suspended ceiling unit, can be used in some of the MXZ applications. But the rest of these units are P series only, and you can see the same thing, type of outdoor units. There's different configurations. So obviously, if you have a single fan unit or a two fan unit, you're going to use different parts for sure. So also, you'll notice over here, there's a bunch of controls. These controls, all of the P series units, none of them start with an M, so they all require some sort of a control. This particular control here, or down here, the MHK2, can be used on all of our equipment, whether it be M or P series, or even the City Multi-series. These two items here and this here are two wire 18 gauge wire that wires up to the unit, and you can totally control the system with it. This is what we call a simple MA. Very, very simple, just mode switch, up and down arrow, and a fan switch. I mean, that's basically it on here. This is the same, only it's a touch control, and it's got a color type screen, as you can see here. This unit here is a PAR 40, used to be called a PAR 33, and it is probably the Cadillac of these things. You can do some system diagnostics, and you can see every little thing like thermistors and outdoor temperatures and compressor speed and that sort of thing through this type of control. So this would be the least expensive. This control here, the MHK2, is probably the most popular. Easy, very, very easy to install. Now we're going to talk about parts. So I've been talking for 24 minutes and really haven't gotten much into parts. The parts won't go too long. So how do I find the correct part? The easiest way is to go to mylinkdrive.com. And if you just type in mylinkdrive and hit enter in your browser, and it will bring up a page that kind of looks like this right here, this page. And obviously we're going to click down here on USA market. The difference is the Caribbean and Latin American markets, a lot of those are 50 hertz, 50 cycles, where we're 60 cycles. And we have UL rated products. They typically don't use the UL rating. So you want to definitely click on the US markets to get the proper voltages and cycle rates. Okay, it's going to, if you click on that, you're going to come up with a page that looks like this. And many of you have already seen this page, but just go across the top. If you click on accessories or controls, it's going to bring up all the controls that we just looked at, plus a lot more. If you click on M or P series, that's what we're going to talk about today. It'll bring up some additional screens that we'll show you in just a moment. But the R2 is the City Multi, S and Y are City Multi. The Y is a standard City Multi unit. The R2 units are available with branch boxes, and they do simultaneously heating and cooling. That's the only series that will do that. It's a commercial series, and these are 3-phase. And the S series is a single phase. It's available in 3, 4, and 5-ton unit, and we do occasionally sell them for the residential market as well, because it is a 2A230 single phase unit. And the parts lookup on all these items, although we're not going to talk about it today, is really basically the exact same thing as what I'm going to show you. So what I'm going to basically show you is the M series. So we're going to click on the M series here, and it's going to come up with a screen that looks like this. And you'll notice that there's the indoor head here. If you were going to look up parts of the indoor head, you could click on that. But for the example today, I'm going to click on this outdoor unit. And I'm going to click on the outdoor unit, and it's going to come up with a whole bunch of numbers. Now, what we're actually looking for in this case is a service reference number. And I'll show you what it's going to show you in a moment. But we're going to look up a service reference number. And how do we find the service reference number? If you're doing the lookup in the computer screen through Windows, for instance, you're going to, you can hit Control F and type in the number and it'll take you right to it. If you're on an Android phone, for instance, and you can probably do this on an Apple phone. I don't have an Apple phone, so I'm not sure how it does it, but it'll bring up a page, and if you click on the little magnifying glass there, it's going to come up with a find and document thing here, and you just type something in there and it'll scan the entire document down here and come up with the word you're looking for, assuming it's the right word. So if you're looking up a flash code, you might look flash or blink or code, and it'll take you to the page. Because some of the service books, for instance, may be 300 pages long, and it might take you a while to thumb through them and look at it. But if you're looking for a code of some sort, if you just type in the word code and hit enter, it'll usually take right to the first word in the document that says code. If it's not the one you're looking for, hit next, and it'll find the next code. Okay, so once we clicked on the M series condensing unit, you're going to have a page that's a very, very long page. Looks like this. The actual first part of the page is what I'm kind of showing you here. This is all you will see. And these numbers here are all model numbers. That's where you may want to look, as you can see, as you page down here. This is still be paging down here and down here. You're looking for one of these numbers. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to look for the service reference number that I've highlighted here. You'll see on some units like this MXZ, the service reference number here is the exact same as the model number. That's okay. But if they've made any change at all in it, they're going to add something behind the model number. As you can see, the model number here is the same as the service reference number. But behind that, there's an MX. Also want to point out that there's the model number. The serial number that we're asking for is always way down towards the bottom. These are the serial numbers over here. Look, another example here. There's a PUZ18. The service reference number has a R1 behind the 4. So the model number is the same, but this ends with an R1. This particular MUZHM series service reference has a -U1 in a box. Very, very, very important when you're looking at parts. So we will go and start looking up some parts. So we're going to look up an MUZGL09, and you're going to see in the L9 there is actually 3 different models that are similar in numbers. So you can see that one of them is a U2, one's a U1, one's a U8. And you cannot just assume that the U8 is the latest one, because in this case, the actual newest number is U2. Don't ask me why Mitsubishi would go from U1 to U8 back to U2, but they did. Also, you'll notice there's a little reference here saying production to current, and this production was over here from 2015 to 2019. So this unit is no longer made, but the unit you're looking for parts on is typically not a brand new one. It's probably something that's been in the field and maybe failed 5, 10 years down the road. So if you just call up to the branch, and you, or if the customer calls into the branch and says, I want a part for an MUZGL09, you're going to probably get the wrong part. Okay, so when we find the one we're looking for, and again, back here, we're going to actually look at this model here, the U2. So we bring up the U2, and it'll say the number right here, U2. And then we're going to go down here, and we're going to click on parts. So once we click on parts, you're going to, it'll just literally page you down to this section here, and we're looking at the parts manual right here. We're going to click on parts manual. Now here's where I want to make sure you got the right part, because this is the parts manual. And you'll notice it's got all of these items in the parts manual. Okay, so you'll notice MUZ-GL09NA, there's an NA-U1, U2, and U8. Also, you'll notice there's an MUZ-GL09NA, U1, U2, and U8, and there's an MUY-GL09NA, U1, U2. Really, really important that you get the right nomenclature. They're all in this book. So if we would page down to the very next page, you're going to see a diagram that kind of looks like this. And say we're looking for this particular board here, which is number 25. We go to the next page, page 3 up here, and you'll notice there's numbers down along the side here. If we go down to number 25, there's a bunch of boards listed, but you got to look at across the top, and this happens to be MUZ-GL and MUZ, which is heat pump, and MUY-GL. And then, of course, across the top, there's an 09, an 09, an 09, an 09. There's 4 09s here, and there is one here. So there's 5 different models here. It can be, if you go down here and start reading across, they all have a different indoor board. It's very important that you, if you're looking up a U2, that you pick U2. You don't see U2 on here. There's no U2. So now what? Keep paging down. Down here on page 4, you're going to see an MUZ-GL09 U2. Just so happens it's the same number, 25. Isn't always the same, but it's the same number, 25. And then you're going to go over here and you go down to 25 and you're going to see the same thing. If you go up to the top here, you're going to see MUZ-GL09NAU2, NAHU2, and over here an MUY-U2. We're looking for an MUZ-GL09NAU2. So we're going to page down until we get to 25 here, and you're going to read this across, and you're going to say, oh, that number right there is a U1 A43 451. You'll notice every single one of these is different. Every single one of these is different. So there's a lot of different boards that we could send you, but there's only one that's going to work. So you want to make sure we pick the right part. And the only way you're going to do that is if you have the service reference number. The model number will not help you. Okay, here's another way of looking at it. For instance, if we're looking up a MUZ-GL09NAU1 versus an MAU2, the parts change. Why do they do this? So why do they do this? Well, every time, remember I said it was UL rated, it's also HRI rated and for efficiencies and so forth. Well, as long as Mitsubishi doesn't change the performance of the equipment and the way it works, for the amount of BTUs and the efficiency it delivers, then they can make some changes in parts. Typically, a lot of manufacturers in the United States change the model number. If you change the model number, you have to go back in and get it re-rated. So that sometimes takes months to get things re-rated. For instance, on furnaces, they had this FUR rating. Everybody had to have their furnaces re-rated with new motors and change model numbers, and it took months, and a lot of people are still getting product out. So Mitsubishi developed this way of adding the service reference number, which gets you the right part. But just make sure that you're looking at the right number. And here's some examples of the difference up here in the MUZ-GL09NAU1 versus U2. Has a different compressor, has a different four-way valve, has different reversing valves, has different PC inverter boards. These are all parts that can fail, so we want to make sure we get you the right thing. Now, another thing you want to make sure you do is you want to make sure you register the parts in warranty. So you're going to go to register ME, stands for Mitsubishi Electric, registermehvac.com. And as a contractor, you're going to click on this registration page here, and then it's going to come up with whether you want to look up the warranty or register the warranty. Okay, so if you hit register or warranty lookup, you're going to put in the model number, again with the complete model number, with the -U1 behind it or U2, and the serial number, and hit search, and it'll come up and say, found warranty number, this. You can hit this to click to print, and it'll print a warranty registration for you or for the homeowner. And if you put this in and it doesn't find it, it comes up with could not find. Please check your numbers and try again. If it can't find it, it reverts back to the standard warranty. The standard warranty is 5-year parts, 7-year compressor warranty. If you register the warranty, if it's actual registered, you get 10-year parts, 10-year compressor, and if it is if you're a diamond contractor and you register, you get a 12-year warranty. So when you go to print the warranty, this comes up, and it'll tell you the date of the installation, the date it was registered, gives you your company name in here, your the homeowner's address, or I'm sorry, it gives you the homeowner's name, address in here, and the company that actually contractor that installed it. It gives you all of the model and serial numbers that reference this, and then you also can click down here and actually look at what the warranty is. You can also do some, you can call us and I can put in the model and the serial number and the model number and do a search, and I get this sort of thing. It tells me when the compressor expires, when it was registered, and that's the same job we were just looking at. And if you want to know what the warranty is, you just have to do a little math. You look at the installation date was 2017, the warranty expiration date is 2019. You see that this has a 12-year warranty on it, so this was installed by a diamond contractor. You can do all that. If you have a computer, you can look it up. If you have this app on your phone, which can be on an Android phone or on a Apple phone, you just go to your app store and type in MEHVAC, and this app will come up. This app, all of our indoor and outdoor labels have this QR code on it. This app will look up warranties based on that QR code, and you can also register the warranty. When you first download this app, you type in your company name, address, that sort of thing, and it saves it. And then when you install a piece of equipment, if you just snap a picture through this app of that QR code, it knows the model number, it knows the serial number, it knows from GPS your geographical location, and it knows the date, knows everything except for the homeowner's name and email address. So if you just snap a picture of all the indoor and outdoor pieces of equipment, it puts it all into this one record. You type in the customer's name and email address and hit enter. And as soon as you do that, it registers the warranty and emails the customer a copy of the warranty registration. Makes it pretty easy. Also, if you go out to a job and you want to know if the equipment's still in warranty, if it was registered, either online or through this app, you shoot a picture of that, it'll tell you that equipment's already registered and the warranty expires in 4 years. It'll tell you the actual date. That's basically it. I did it less than 45 minutes, about 40 minutes. So unless you have any questions, I'll let you go ahead and leave this meeting now. And I want to thank you for attending and participating in the meeting. And I appreciate all of you guys and everything that you do. So thank you very much, and have a good day.